James Brogan, Brothers in Blue. The call came from a man Brogan hadn't spoken to in nearly a decade, though the voice still carried the same gravel it had when they shared a patrol car. "It's about my boy," Frank Delaney said. "He's on the job now. Someone's whispering he's light-fingering evidence from narcotics busts. I can't take it to internal affairs. If he's clean, the accusation alone will follow him. If he's not, I need to know first. Quiet." Brogan sat with the request longer than usual. Frank had been his partner during the years when the department still felt like it might be worth the wait. The reasons Brogan had eventually left were still sharp enough to cut. A captain protected, good cases buried, the slow realization that rank could outvote evidence. He said yes anyway. Michael Delaney worked out of a district that had seen better budgets and worse headlines. Brogan watched him the old-fashioned way. From a distance, off-duty hours, no department resources. The young cop kept regular patterns: gym, a narrow house in Dorchester, the occasional late shift. Then, on a Thursday night, he left the station in plain clothes and drove to a side street near the waterfront. He met a man Brogan recognized from old narcotics briefings, a mid-level dealer who should have been in cuffs, not conversation. From a darkened doorway, Brogan watched them talk. No money changed hands, no product, just low voices and the dealer looking more nervous than the cop. When they split, Michael sat in his car for a long time before driving away. It didn't play like a payoff. It played like tradecraft. Brogan dug carefully. He pulled public arrest records, cross-checked them against case outcomes, and leaned on two former colleagues who still answered his calls when the questions stayed off the record. What emerged was not a dirty cop skimming dope. It was a young officer running an unsanctioned investigation into his own house. A captain in the district had been steering major drug cases for years, deciding which ones moved and which ones quietly stalled. Evidence that should have built conspiracy charges had a habit of developing problems in the chain of custody. Michael had noticed the pattern. When he tried to flag it through normal channels, the interest died on the lieutenant's desk. So he had started building the case himself, using the dealer as a reluctant source, collecting dates, names, and the slow accumulation of irregularities that never quite rose to the level internal affairs wanted to touch. It was reckless. It was also familiar. Brogan had once sat in the same position, watching a superior protected by the same system that was supposed to police him, realizing that going through channels meant the truth would be managed until it disappeared. He had chosen to leave. Michael had chosen to stay and fight in the only way he could see. Brogan arranged a meeting in a diner that still served coffee strong enough to qualify as a controlled substance. Michael recognized him at once, Frank's old partner, the one who had walked away. "You're going to get yourself buried," Brogan said. "Someone has to put it together," Michael answered. "If I wait for permission, it'll never happen." Brogan didn't argue the principle. He argued the method. An off-the-book sting by a junior officer would be easy to discredit. The captain would survive it. Michael might not. There were cleaner ways to move evidence, paths that still existed if you knew which former prosecutors and which careful journalists still cared more about patterns than politics. Over the next 2 weeks, Brogan helped restructure what Michael had gathered. He sourced corroborating documents through channels that didn't carry the young cop's fingerprints. He arranged for the material to reach a state-level public integrity unit that operated outside the captain's local influence. The package was dry, factual, and difficult to ignore. The captain announced his retirement 3 weeks later, citing family reasons and the desire to spend more time with grandchildren. No press conference detailed the irregularities. No one was indicted. The cases that had stalled began, slowly, to move again. Michael kept his badge and his silence. Frank Delaney met Brogan on a bench near the harbor, the same way they had once debriefed after long shifts. "He didn't do what they said," Brogan told him. Frank exhaled like a man who had been holding the same breath for months. I was afraid he'd inherited the worst of the job. Brogan shook his head. He didn't inherit your badge. He inherited the part of it you actually cared about. The part that still tries to make the ledger balance even when the people above him prefer it tilted. They sat for a while without talking. The water moved against the pilings. Somewhere across the district, a young cop was still working his cases the hard way, a little less alone than he had been. Brogan stood first. Some debts between partners never fully closed. This one at least had been paid forward.